Welcome to the first episode of this course. We'll start by looking at the Exalate menu panel, which is required for all the administrative tasks related to the Exalate application. You can find the menu panel here on the Jira Cloud instance. The look and feel of the panel may be slightly different depending on the platform that you're using, but the options essentially remain the same. I will point out any differences as we go on. The Getting Started screen is a pretty simple screen with just a couple of options. You can click on Tutorials, which will take you to the Exalate site, and you'll be able to access the tutorials based on the platform you're using. Similarly, the Documentation button will take you to our public-facing documentation, which is a very useful resource for any Exalate user. Now, there is the General Settings. The options within the General Settings vary depending on the platform that you use, so don't be surprised if you don't see exactly the same options in your instance. As I said, it is slightly dependent on the platform, but you will easily find your way around it. The first thing you notice here is the Exalate URL. This is what we call a node URL of the node that is servicing your Exalate instance. The second option is a Show Exalate and Connect actions. So what does this refer to? If you go into an actual issue within your Jira, you have the Sync panel, and you have these buttons called Exalate and Connect. These buttons are available to the end user or the agents who are using the Jira instance. If you want to hide them away from the end users, simply toggle the Show Exalate and Connect actions off. Similarly, if a ticket is exalated, yes, it's a verb too, these buttons get replaced by an Unexalate button. Again, if you want to hide it from the end user, you can use the option to Show Unexalate action. The third option hides the entire panel. So if you want to hide the Sync panel itself from non-admin users, you can do so by using this option. The Hide Inactive connections come in handy when you're exalating a ticket from one end to another, so you can easily hide all the inactive connections in the drop-down menu. This last option allows the project admins to set up basic connections for any project. Alright, the next screen is the Connection screen. This is where everything related to any Exalate connection happens, from creating a new connection and initiating it to accepting the invitation and configuring your different connection rules. Everything happens out here. The Exalate Notifications provides you with a simple interface where you can add email addresses. This will be the people who should be notified in case there's any blocking error within Exalate and somebody needs to resolve it. So you can just add the email addresses from out here. The Errors screen does what it says. It lists out any errors that are happening within the instance at this moment. These errors can be of many types within Exalate. They could be related to a single issue error or a connection level error, which might block the entire connection. There could be an instance-wide error, which could block all the connections within that instance. The error screen is where an admin can come in, look at the errors, and work to resolve them. The Sync queue is, again, something handy that you'll be using extensively. This lists out all the incoming and the outgoing transactions that happen in this instance. You have the outgoing sync transactions and the incoming sync. And similarly, you have the attachments for both out here as well. Now you can filter this by all the connections you have created. So if you just want to see the transactions with one connection, you're able to do that. Bulk connection is a feature that we're going to discuss later on in the next episodes. So basically, if you have an existing issue on this instance and you want to connect it to an existing issue on the other instance, or the remote instance, then you can use the Bulk Connect feature in order to do that. Triggers is what introduces automation into the Exalate application. You can define the triggers out here, and that will automate the ticket exhalation process. The Entity Sync Status is a useful screen for when you just want to see what the status of any current ticket is. So you simply put in the ticket number and it will tell you the status and whether the ticket is exalated, unexalated, or connected. The license detail is where you get information about your current license and your entitlement. It tells you about the type of license and the validity. Lastly, the Exalate panel has some cleanup tools available. Exalate provides a tool that helps stop issue synchronization and remove synchronization-related metadata on both sides. That means if you want to stop the synchronization from happening, for whatever reason, and you aim to break the links between any of the entities or tickets, you can do that from here. The information that has been synchronized from one instance to another will not be removed with the cleanup. Note that there are two options out here. You can either clean up by connection or clean up by entity.